stuff he can catch up on, or we can catch him up on. So, hey everyone, Ian and I have been working, or Ian and everyone has been working on sort of the websites and building a bunch of graphical assets for us. And I thought it'd be great. We've made some kind of adjustments, and I thought it'd be awesome to have Ian kind of walk through it himself, because he does it much better and more clearly articulated than I can. So he's got a little bit of a deck. If you want to check it out yourself, he pasted that in the chat as well. But this can kind of give you an idea where we're heading and what look and feel is going to look like. And then sort of as Tuesday's alluding to, like, hopefully we can use some of these graphical assets in future applications down the road. So go ahead, Ian, why don't you take it away?
Sweet. Cool. Thanks, everybody. So just an update. Yeah, like Parker said, in the past few weeks, we've been working with a bunch of designers. We tried out one designer first, and then we pivoted to another just to see, what we'd get from a different set of eyes and hands on the job. And yeah, so we've thrown all our ideas out there. We did a bunch of tests of all the individual chip aesthetics that we had in mind, the Phonon aesthetics that we were tinkering with, and this is just going to be walking you through real quick our thoughts on what's working, what wasn't working, and fill you in on our thinking about a new direction we've come up with for the visual metaphor of the Phonon itself. So yeah, just if you want to refresh yourself on the creative strategy, it's there on page 3. Roadmap, I've highlighted where we are in the roadmap right now. I think we are somewhere in between the first 2 stages. We've almost finalized the web content outline. We've started our design explorations, as well as our round 1 of illustrations, which, if we agree that we're headed in the right direction, I think we'll be pretty close actually to phase 3 here. Yeah, cool.
Just a quick sorry to interrupt. Ian is sharing the screen. I know there's a couple screen shares. If you want to follow along with Ian's, you can click through on the screen.
Cool. Yeah, and just to refresh, what we're saying is that Phonon lets you give your digital assets the secure and private properties of cash and perform truly off-chain transactions without having to exchange currencies or leave your financial ecosystem. So, that's going to come more into play in some of the later illustration compositions that we explore. Right now, we're still kind of ironing out the Phonon and chip visual identity. So this won't really come into play too much just yet. So where we started, what we agreed on last time, more or less, before a couple more conversations I had with some of you, was that there were existing kind of metaphors for cryptocurrency that were instantly recognizable, like coin shapes, blockchain cubes, etc., that we thought we'd lean into just for ease of communication. When we started testing those out in context with our kind of reeded glass and high refraction and distortion elements, we found, as you can see in the upper right, that things started feeling a little busy visually very quickly. We think some of this stuff is really cool. This is only some of what we had explored, but we never saw anything that really felt clean and premium and accessible, which is part of our visual strategy. And I think it's a very important part. The more complex and heady the metaphors get and the visuals get, the less accessible it feels and the less kind of calm and sophisticated it feels. So we're thinking we want to pivot away from that. And so we started experimenting with a few other things. One was we had a conversation that we want to move away from the idea of cryptocurrency and talk about digital assets, which could be any number of things or any collection of different things. So we tried a stab at taking the coin metaphor and dividing it up into like different elements that created one sort of digital asset. We think it looks beautiful, but again, in practice, when we started putting it into the scenes, it felt a little busy and a little needlessly complicated. We also tried a sort of randomized polygon inside a containing sphere situation. This one, I think, still has potential. I think we definitely like the idea of using a sphere. We haven't gotten the kind of refraction or simplicity in the objects that we would like. Right now, it feels like an object within an object. I'm pushing for our phonon to feel like a singular thing. And not too busy, so that when it's far away it's just a sphere, and when it's close up maybe you see something inside it that says that there's information or assets in there, but it shouldn't be this clear and kind of loud and complex, because when we bring it into composition with the puff chips, we want everything to be elegant. So this one is still in the works, kind of. The puff chips themselves, these explorations on the right here, show you how our early tests with the reeded glass went. The artists were struggling to make things feel kind of clear. You can see that they were working against a black background, and they were complaining that trying to do this on a bright background was very difficult. And there are elements that we like about this. We love the chromatic aberration and kind of the spectrum, the prism spectrum of colors we're getting here, and we want to make sure we keep that. We really like the distortion, but again, for it to feel good, the phonon itself has to be something very simple. It can't be very complicated, or else it just kind of turns into noise behind that refraction. So we wanted to see if there's a different approach we could take here. On page 10, what we thought about, going back through the references, we really loved, and I think you guys had responded well to this lower right reference. And we thought, what if we added kind of a rippling effect to the transfer between these chip planes? And we think what it does is it allows us to get all the kind of refraction and distortion that we love from the reeded glass, but kind of make things more elegant, cleaner, rounder, softer, rather than so harsh. And it works well in a bright space as well. We don't really need to worry as much about kind of readability behind it, because we can now have the phonon interact with it directly rather than just be obscured by it or revealed from behind it. You get this nice kind of entry and exit of the phonon through the glass plane. So that brings us to our new kind of solution that we've come up with. Basically, when we looked at all of this stuff together, one thing we really noticed was that our metaphors weren't really encapsulating kind of the brand identity that you already had lined up. We were kind of missing an element of the initial logo in there as well. This idea of the wave particle duality of this traveling phonon. So we wanted to come up with a form and behavior that would achieve everything we've discussed above, but also kind of hark back to the logo itself. And that's where we came up with this idea here of this traveling sphere. And again, that could contain information within it. We can play with the look and feel and color of that. But as it travels, you have these waves of the clear glass that echo the materiality of the chips themselves, that kind of wash over the phonon and pulse around it. They grow out of nothing in front, and as they wrap around behind, they disappear again as the phonon travels through space. And you can see in the upper left where we can kind of play on that, those diagonals from the logo, echoing those curves and those sine waves. And we're really liking this solution. Here's an example of what this might feel like in a div of the website, with, you know, a kind of a simplified statement. This is kind of, in my mind, a nod to Apple's aesthetic, a lot of clean white negative space, floating elements, and just elegant minimalist typography. But you could see here how that phonon could look traveling from one to the other. Just a note about these renders, these should be considered sketches. They're not high fidelity at all. These are just quick iterations that we're pumping out, trying to problem solve. And then once we're in the final stage, they'll feel much, much more premium. These are just standard shaders at the moment. On page 14, we've done a little motion test showing you how this kind of particle wave metaphor would feel in action.
And just to clarify, this is the transfer of a phonon between two cards.
Yeah. And here's an example of the actual fidelity that we want to go for here. You can see, if you look closely at this image on your screen, there's a lot of really beautiful chromatic aberration in there, beautiful edge detailing, and variations in clarity and cloudiness in the glass. So, you know, I'd say keep that in mind when you look at some of these early tests. And also, what's up in the air completely right now and open for discussion is, you know, brightness, tone, color scheme. Right now, we're just matching to your original color scheme, more or less, just for initial discussion. But we are very open to kind of broadening that. And in our next round, we'll make official palette recommendations for you guys. On page 17, through the end of the deck, or no, 17 through 19, we've started taking a look at typography. And there's a lot of cool developments in the typography world right now. There's a trend going on of these really beautiful, kind of futuristic, semi-robotic, but still modern minimalist sans serifs going on. And we think we could find one for you guys that would be a great header font or hero font. We think pairing that with, you know, again, just minimalist, simple body copy is the way to go. So it'll feel modern. It'll still feel techy. It'll feel, you know, fresh and kind of on trend without being too loud. And here's some other references that Alex has gathered for you guys on elements that we think, like layout options and just thought starters on ways we might want to bring other pieces of information to life around the site. You know, just she's a big fan of pretty bold typography, and then you know, kind of fine details balancing each other out. And I think that's something we could play with as well. And then on page 20 and later, it's just a bunch of our old references if anyone wants to point to anything for discussion. And that about wraps it up. Yeah, so I'm going to pass it back to you guys if anyone has any questions, or where would you guys like to start?
Awesome. Really appreciate it, Ian. I do have some kind of particular comments before we go into that. How's everyone else feeling about this general direction? Any thoughts, your initial feel from what Ian shared?
Looking really good.
Yeah, I actually love the orb like encapsulated within the phonon glass. I think that is really well done, so I love that.
Nice.
Yeah, I love it. On slide 9, Ian, there, I think we were kind of referring to the very first image, upper left on the right-hand side. I really like, we were talking about how that I love the one thing I really like about this is just sort of the way the Phonon appears, sort of like almost like it's underwater. And I think that's so beautiful, and I love that. That's like from the first kind of batch of stuff we did, and that's like
Right.
the one thing I think that he definitely nailed.
Mhm.
When you're talking about like obscuring the phonon as much as like the data within the phonon as much as possible, and how that story gets told is kind of like up in the air. Like I don't even know how much we have to even reveal underneath the phonon, because the interesting thing about phonon is like totally private. Like you can't
Right.
actually see inside of it. So we could just ignore, the story of putting something in there if it becomes too busy. You know what I mean? It's more like it's really down to like artistically, but like from a technology standpoint, both stories work well.
Mhm.
Because nobody would ever be able to know what's being transferred between two cards, for example.
Yeah.
So the only reason we'd be doing that is to explain it for laymen to understand. So if it feels too busy, I think we can simplify if we need to.
Yeah, I think only when you were maybe this close to the actual sphere, maybe you could see something inside it. There's
Yeah.
also the option of, being really close to this rippling glass at the beginning or end of a shot when the phonon is on the other side of it, and we can get some of that back
Yeah.
in those moments, which is nice.
And I love this the animation we're like going towards. I love the way it's like this wormhole opening between these two panes of glass, and I love the way it's communicated. It's not just like how it sort of. Yeah, I love the look and feel of it. So I'm really excited about how that's going to look when the final renders are done.
Yeah, yeah, same. I did these frames actually myself, and because we just came up with this metaphor,
Yeah.
and so I've been cranking these out. So part of why they're not high fidelity is because I don't have nearly the processing power that our freelancers have.
Yeah.
But yeah, once we get this in their language, it's going to be stunning.
Yeah, and I think I'm excited to see the different fonts as well. Like
Mhm.
there's a point where it becomes too sci-fi and becomes kind of like
Yeah,
cheesy. But
right.
there's also a point where it becomes like unique enough to like tell the story of us being 10x 100x more interesting and powerful payments technology. So um,
Yep.
yeah,
Yeah,
really
we
cool.
definitely want to strike that balance between tasteful and professional, as well as kind of on
Yeah,
trend.
like
So
you can't look sci-fi or like it can't look like
yeah,
like like it shouldn't look dystopian. You know what I mean?
right, totally.
Amazing. Amazing. Thanks. Really appreciate you. I know you have a call. So if there's anything else, anyone else has any thoughts, questions, I thought I'd just show some of the visual stuff that's happening that kind of informs the testnet conversations, and just do some sharing so we kind of have some cross pollination. So if anyone else has any questions, definitely ask them now, and then we can kind of move on. Amazing. Thanks, Ian. Really appreciate your time, man.
Thanks, Ian.
Awesome. Thanks a lot, guys. Okay.
Sweet.
Cool.
Yeah, that's the other thing I can share quickly is just our wireframes. But I might just hold that to the end because I know there's probably a lot of stuff to talk about as far as testnet goes.
Awesome. Yeah. The agenda I put together is just some questions that I thought of from our last communications meeting. Tuesday's he's going to document this as we go, and I know he has a lot of information, so I don't know if we just want to go question by question. Then Tuesday's I don't know how much you want to add to that, or if you want to just start with the first question, we'll go from there.
Sure. So there's probably some questions that I can't answer here. Testnet kits. I know that there's been a bit of a discussion this week about that. Who from GridPlus wants to hit that one?
Yeah, I think I can answer that. My goal is for this to go on sale at the end of next week. I guess I'll need Justin to confirm that could be put up in Shopify by then, but hopefully all the stuff will be produced and packaged by then.
Okay. You want me to give you an extra week and then say August 1st?
Yeah, that's probably fine.
Okay. How many days after the testnet kits go on sale will someone receive their kit? And what's the shipping look like? I know previously we were using media mail, which kind of has a variable arrival rate depending on location you are from the sending source. I don't know if we wanted to do like a priority mail or something like that, and how much that would cost. But what are we thinking there?
In terms of the fulfillment, there's a couple of things. One,
You are super duper quiet.
oh,
Sounds like you're using a microphone that's like packed away in your briefcase.
all right. Is this any better? I'm adjusting the gain, but I bet I'm on the wrong mic.
Nothing.
Test.
How about now?
Perfect.
All right. Yeah, I was on the wrong mic. Sorry. Couple of things on that. We don't actually have to wait till everything is packaged to go live on Shopify. In fact, I'm thinking it may be easier, so we have a couple of people on board to potentially come in and lend a hand with this. Maybe easier to do it in one fell swoop where we try to just sell out these units and then do packaging and shipping all in one day. But we could do it preemptively. Times will vary. They're not going to all go out via the same process because we're opening this up globally. So we will have in the system like different optimal carriers by area, or give users some options. But typically what we do at GridPlus, we're fulfilling through a third-party partner. We've got a warehouse and another company we work with that as orders come in, they automatically send everything out. We're going to do these manually from our office because this is kind of like a one-off thing. So yeah, the times are going to vary. We could kind of do it by region, but what we can say is 2 to 3 days fulfillment time on our end, and then you should receive your specific tracking data. But it will vary by region. Within the US, it's really usually only a couple of days. But these boxes are a little bit larger too, so I don't think we can do media mail because the kits will include, the 2 cards, the 2 card readers. So they're a little bit larger. I forget the precise dimensions, but medium small package.
Is everything out of Austin? Everything manufactured out of Austin? That's what I thought.
Yeah, so I mean, really, what we have in the kit, we have the cards. We're going to be flashing these ourselves. They're the Phonon specific cards we order. They do have a little GridPlus imprint in the upper left. They look really good. But the card readers are just they're something we bought in bulk separately. So yeah, it's just something we have at our office, and we can handle all the fulfillment and packaging.
Beautiful.
Are we giving the user 2 different options of just buying the cards or buying the whole kit, or are we just giving them the kit?
What do you think is optimal? I feel like, especially for this core group, a lot of us we all have card readers already, but it might be simpler to do it all the same. What do you guys think?
I recommend just doing it all the same, having the card reader in it, and just keeping it as simple as possible.
Yeah, that was what I was thinking for for this batch. It'll make it easier to just sell them all with the card readers included. And I think after that we'll try to get another setup that's just the cards, but those will be like the non-testnet rewards eligible dev kits going forward, and we'll just sell you just point people towards the card readers in the future.
So if we already bought one, for me it's been a minute. I think it's 3 or 4 months maybe. Like when I first got a whiff of the testnet and like mining all that. So if we've already those are already logged and everything's good there, and they'll just start to ship like as they're manufactured and produced. Is that kind of, am I on the right track with that?
Yeah, if you ordered one and you haven't received anything yet, we're going to handle all those orders first. We'll get those sent out
Okay, cool.
with the new cards and kits. Yeah.
Do we know how many of those are back ordered?
About 40-ish, and plus, 40, just over 40, I think, are the back ordered dev kits that we've had on pause pending testnet rollout.
Okay.
Quick question: if somebody bought the alpha kit and it's not been flashed and they're not on back order, and they come into Discord and ask, "Hey, I've already purchased the card readers from you guys. I just need cards to join testnet. Can we make an exception for like just the flashed cards being sent to those who inquire about it? Just trying to be inclusive, but like people have been involved, but we don't want to advertise it.
Yeah, like we don't hold ourselves out that way, but if someone happens to ask, you know what I mean, then we could support that request.
Grid, everybody at Grid, is that maybe possible where we could kind of have just a back channel for those who have been involved but don't have the new cards?
Yeah, I think that should be fine. I mean, the only thing that makes it somewhat sensitive is if these sell as quickly as we hope, that we're limiting it because of the incentivization. But that said, we absolutely do not want to exclude anyone who is an early contributor and who's been following the project. So I think that's very reasonable. I mean, the whole goal of this is to get engagement, get developers looking at the technology and playing with it, to stress test things. So yeah, I'm personally supportive of that.
I think Phonon God was
probably do that. Yeah,
I think Phonon God was not. He wasn't super happy with that idea because what was his rationale? I think he was saying a special treatment, or then it has the perception of like an inside job, or someone getting a leg up on mining, basically. So I have to think about that in terms of perception if we're going to do that.
We're kind of already past that if we're letting people, like I'm on the alpha kit that's waiting, like we're already past that. We have a bunch of people who are going to get the kit before everybody else regardless, so I wouldn't object to that.
Okay, good. Then maybe it's not a concern. That just went through my head. So
no, I think the concern there was more about mining for like production cards when the native phonons will be like really out in the world. I think here it's just a limited number of testnet kits, and I think it makes perfect sense to give those out to the people who have been engaged from early on.
There you go. Right on.
Well, if anybody asks for just cards, they already have our readers. We'll figure out the correct channel to get them in contact with y'all.
Yeah, that may work out actually, because I don't think we have a complete set of readers for this run. So if there's demand for a bunch without readers, maybe it makes sense to just send them that way. Otherwise, then we won't have to restock our own supply of readers to send out the rest of the kits.
Yeah. All right. Well, I guess we'll cross that bridge if and when it happens.
Yeah, and that's pretty easy to fulfill. Flashing cards is not super involved. I would actually say, though, I want to circle back just to the actual dates. We're doing the goal of August 1st. One of the things that drives us is not just the actual physical act of, packaging all this stuff up. It's also the communications group and how we're framing all of this. So I was curious, on that push, how do we need time? Do we have materials that the comms group has already been working towards in service of this, or how do the other work streams fit in?
Yeah, so the only sort of outstanding thing is just getting these all these kind of dates and everything aligned, and then we have a press release, and we have a few hundred people that we're going to send the press release out to. It's kind of like the first step, and then we have a content calendar up to ramp up awareness on the project. There's a couple of things we need to nail down before we can do some more communication stuff too. Like we need access to the phone to whoever has info at phonon.network, because that is key to update our CoinGecko and any other kind of website that lists Phonon. But yeah, we have like a content calendar and content that we're working on getting made that will kind of go out, some video stuff as well. And all that should be okay for August 1st. And I think basically the preceding week of that is going to be just blasting out as much as we can and trying to get on as many, and just telling them, like sending the core messages that like, everyone's looking for projects that are building during these bear markets, and we want to position ourselves as like the project of the bear market.
Ping me after the meeting, and I will set up email access for Phonon.network for the comms group.
Oh, perfect. Yeah.
Right now, they're just shared Proton Mail mailboxes. We have the option of opening it up so that we could assign emails for everybody at Phonon.network. I only hesitate on that because then if there's someone we've kind of forgotten about, then they can be like, oh yeah, I'm an official representative. Look, it's coming from an official domain. For now, I kind of like to keep it limited.
I would keep it limited because I think the intention is to change our domain, and because I think we want to drop network from like nomenclature. So I think it's like we have Phonon.DAO. We have a few options. So I think we can keep it small for now because I think there's no intention to keep Phonon.network as the domain for the long term.
Yeah, with all the services we have set up, it's pretty easy to remap anyways, so should be fine.
Perfect. And we'll circulate the press release internally too. And we just some, we want to have some information here, and I think the only thing would stop us from sending out the release is if there's any sense there's going to be a delay on the date. So once it's like we're locked in for sure August 1, then we're going to push it out to everybody we can.
Then August 1st is ideal from your perspective for opening up the store.
Sorry, was that for me?
Yeah, that's for you.
Oh yeah, I mean it doesn't really matter as long as it's a date that doesn't change. So because once it's like on paper and sent out, we just wouldn't want it to be pushed. I think it'd be a bad look. So once we kind of know for sure it's August 1, there's no issue, then that's when we will send out the press releases.
Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna set up my my flashing rig for the cards today. So I'll ping you and confirm on when I've got confidence that that's all gonna work.
Awesome.
So I think it's been talked about a few times for flashing. Are you wanting additional help for flashing? Would that help the process? Would it help you be able to do something else? Because I think we have up to 3 people that can help with that.
Yeah, I mean, thinking for the flashing itself, it's probably easiest for me to handle it. It's mostly just plugging in cards and probably gonna run off my own machine or, yeah, I don't know. Undecided on flashing. I got to work out exactly how that process is going to work. But for packaging, I could definitely use the help. I'm thinking we could get a bunch of people together at the end of next week, on Thursday or Friday, to just take a day and package everything up. I'll have all the cards flashed in advance.
The reason I would actually advocate, just in terms of logistics, packaging after we get all the orders in, is that we can do it all at once. Where each order that comes through Shopify is going to have 2 or 3 things. It's going to have an internal packing slip. It's going to have the shipping label that prints out. And then if it's an international order, it's going to have the customs documentation that will have to be attached to the outside of the package. So what I was envisioning was that, if Dan wants to flash all the cards ahead of time, and we have, we already have all the packaging and everything ready, get the card readers. So I was thinking that the most efficient way to do this when people want to help out is just have a printout, like the whole stack of all those forms in order, and then just let people, instead of doing an intermediary step where we're getting everything together and leaving it open, just do it all at once. Every time we put something together, label it, and then we can ship right from the office. for the most part, unless it's something unusual. Like I think we have to go out for DHL and a couple other things if there's a lot of international orders. But that's sort of my preference, is that we go live and then like a week after we open the link, then we do it all in like one day.
I'm fine with that. We can make it a
Yeah,
live.
that makes sense, actually. Yeah.
And we'll obviously we'll hook up whoever is willing to do this. I know JT from our team is like, he's been eager to visit Austin for a long time, so he's angling to come down. But I know we've got some DAO volunteers in Austin. So
Pivo, can I want a bird? Let's go.
there might not be that much though. So I'm thinking like, 2 people. If Dan's doing the cards, we can. Well, Dan, you were kind of like you were estimating the packaging time per each. Like we think it's like, 8 hours for 2 people, basically, a little less than that.
Yeah, so I think it'll be something like that.
I don't want it to be anticlimactic that you got to fly into Austin. I mean, the barbecue's good from what I hear, but yeah. I mean,
the barbecue's definitely good, but I think we'll probably have work for like 2 people. Any more than that will probably be overkill.
Yep.
Okay. I guess if we're going with a August 1st purchase date, when do we think that the testnet would actually be live?
From a software perspective, everything will be live before the cards actually go on sale. It'll just be a matter of having the cards delivered to let people use it or use them with each other. But all the supporting like software is already up and is just being polished off and should be done by August 1st.
Okay. Do we want to give like a week lag time for shipping so that we can say like testnet will go quote unquote live on the 8th and we can have all the logs recording prior to that in case if someone jumps the gun, but that's the official like start date?
Yeah, sure. We could give that as an official start date. Just in terms of like letting people know when they can earn rewards and giving them a time to rally around to like coordinate with each other, sending phonons over Discord and whatnot. Is that what you had in mind for like testnet live declaration? Okay. Yeah, I think that would be fine.
Do we need to ramp up the jump box before a whole bunch of people start accessing it?
It should be sized for this amount of people already.
Okay.
But that'll be something
What's
we'll take
the
a look
jump?
at as it happens.
Can you help us, not so tech savvy peeps over here? What's
Sure.
the jump box?
It's what's going to be logging everything.
Yeah, technically the jump
Is
box
it like
is the it's the server that bridges connections between phone cards at this point. It's just
Okay.
the point where they all connect you to talk to each other.
Okay, that's helpful. Thank you.
So I've started the documentation for Windows. I just don't know like how techy it currently is, and I don't know how much we're going to change. Like, are we envisioning people launching this from PowerShell or command prompt?
No.
Okay. And then I'll probably have some different iterations of this, but I'll just keep going through the process. Is there an easy way to identify someone's card ID?
Yes.
Yes.
If you click the receive button, it's under there always.
So we would have to have somebody log into it and initialize it first prior to them seeing it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It's quite tedious for me to write all those down in advance, and so I see it's easiest for users to just get them there.
Okay, so I will keep going through the documentation, and whenever you guys change anything about it, I'll just run through the process and see what changed.
Nate's been working pretty hard on this past week, so there's a bit easier install steps.
Just check out the Apple release. If you go to the
Oh, never mind. I broke that yesterday. Disregard.
Okay. I did see the DMG there though.
Yeah, Tuesdays when you're going to update this, just reach out to Nate, and he can tell you. He can walk you through what the latest is. He's going to be polishing that up over the next week too.
So I did provide a link to the OmniKey just in case if somebody does buy their own card reader. So I know we briefly touched on this, and I want to make sure we're still on the same track here. How do you guys want people to report bugs and issues?
Yeah, I'm glad you asked that. I've been thinking about that a little. I think Discord is a good place to do it, to have a dedicated channel for it. We should create some bug report guidelines with required information that we'll need to actually make use of those bug reports. But and if Tuesdays and whomever is working on the testnet working group can kind of curate and filter out the low quality ones and just to let us know about the ones that seem relevant, we can bring those into our internal issue tracker in GitHub and get those queued up to actually get fixed.
Okay. How do we want to communicate to all the testers if there's going to be more tasks or a change in a procedure? Do we want to use the email that you guys collect from Shopify? Do we want to use Discord, Twitter, etc.?
Yeah, I mean,
Like
I think
on
Discord,
Helium. Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. Go ahead.
Oh yeah, so I was just gonna say, yeah, I think Discord and like making the announcement simultaneously on Twitter would be good. Maybe we have all the objectives posted on the governance forum and somewhere in Discord. I had a couple I wanted to add to that list, but I don't expect to change them too much after the fact, unless we find out about something that we really particularly want to get tested. But hopefully they'll be locked at the launch.
Who is going to be responsible for communications with the testers? And Komato, maybe you can give me more insight on that question. Are you just talking about like a day-to-day or?
Yeah, I just thinking back to that previous question you were asking about like emails. Like, I doubt GridPlus will be able to share those emails, right? So I'm just thinking from a logistics standpoint, we got 40 people that are waiting for testnet kits, but there's not 40 people that are active in the Discord. So they're going to get the testnet kits. How are they going to know what to do?
I would hesitate to say that the people talking in the Discord represent the people who are interested in the project, because I've seen a bunch of people pop in with like questions that show they've been paying attention.
The other thing is too. So we're obviously not going to share anybody's email that has an open order, but we can pass along something directly through the Shopify contact we have. In fact, I mean that's just good practice to give them like a heads up, to give them details about it. Maybe someone bought a testnet kit, original dev kit, and had almost forgot about it for a while. So we're happy to blast something out to each of those customers. I think I would be excited to receive it, and that's just a normal part of the process. There's not, any other external handling of an email address.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking. Like when you send it out, say, "Hey, come to the Discord, book a testnet," whatever that communication is there. And
Hey, I had a question. If I can just interject, will it be? You think it'll be like Helium? They'll have firmware updates, right? So you have to Is that a totally separate tech, or would that happen with the Lattice One or with these mining cards?
The cards are not going to
Every
be
so often there's an update
updatable.
across the whole,
Cards can't be updatable just because it's impossible to update the software without blowing out the certificate, which guarantees the card's authenticity. What will be updated is the client software above it, and planning to update that continuously throughout the testnet and going forward. So cards will stay the same. Eventually, we'll do another release of them, and these will be superseded by a future version, but the client will just change continuously.
Like the algorithm.
Would you be able to make it so that the apps are backwards compatible? Like, could you interact with an older version of the applet?
In general, yeah. For these testnet cards, will be compatible with the alpha, for instance. The beta cards may be compatible with the testnet. depending on what issues we find while we're doing the testnet testing, if there are security flaws, we may need to roll over the keys for the production release to ensure that insecure applets can't interact with secure ones. So I expect one day there will be a production release that will roll over the keys to an expected to be secure applet that's ready to use real assets.
Now is the time for breaking changes. So if everything pre-release is fair game, but you get into more difficulty with the versioning with something. It's like shipping in earlier days of software where we can't have hot fixes. So there's a different degree of scrutiny and stress testing that has to be applied to all of this.
Yeah, we'll make a best effort to maintain backwards compatibility up until production, but it'll be no guarantees that I can make on that.
Okay. I was just kind of answering this one based on what the current task list is. So I don't know how many more you want to add into there. But how long does it take to complete the testnet tasks? I think I could probably go through the entire thing in under 10 minutes, but I also think that I have done it already. So maybe up to 30 minutes. Do you guys think that's pretty accurate?
Probably roughly accurate. Maybe an hour if people are a little less technically inclined and counting all the install time, but shouldn't be much more than that. I did want to add a couple of more interesting objectives that might not be completely achievable. I was thinking of adding, seeing if someone can duplicate or double spend a phonon. So that's more of just like an open-ended exploration. I don't know if it's possible or not, but I would like to find out if somebody can manage it on this applet. It should be impossible. So I'd say for the basic tasks, probably 30 minutes to an hour is reasonable.
Okay.
And then I'll throw these other ones on as a bonus.
With the checklist as it exists now, one thing I was curious about, because I actually have not even played with this as much as Tuesdays, is with the async nature of these transfers, do we almost need, how do you envision people pairing off? Do we need to have, if they're going to coordinate via the Discord, does it have to be, are we just is it almost going to be speed dating when people are available you need someone to pair off with?
Yeah, that's kind of what I figured.
That's kind of how I thought of it. And then anybody who's on the testnet support team, I would just say get used to being a speed date champion, because you'll probably have to do 20 plus of these if we sell 200 kits.
Right, G-Unit is going to host some kind of virtual picnic / speed dating, and maybe we'll get a PO app for people or something out through there.
Oh yeah, get one of our employees, logicbeach.eth. He is a PO app master for cranking out some high quality ones fast. I'm sure he could put something together for Phonon speed dating. And then the other thing we have to factor in with that too is just to be as inclusive as possible. My first thought was Hinchy, people in other time zones. Those are probably the people who are going to need the most help. So just something to bear in mind. I don't know what the solution is there, or I guess when we ship out the cars, we'll have a sense of the geographical distribution.
So, how long do we expect testnet to run? Sorry if I missed that part. What do we think? Is a month enough time to get it done to the quality we want?
I think I feel better with 2 months at least, 2 to 3 months.
Do maybe every other week or weekly. We'll set up something, and maybe we'll raffle off some goat NFTs or something. I mean, we got a bunch of shit just sitting around, resources that are waiting to be moved. So I'm excited to do this.
Me too.
For everyone.
Yeah, that sounds really good.
So the testnet working group was originally structured to be 21 days long. If we're feeling 2 months, do we need to revisit that?
Yeah, that's a good question. Yeah, 21. Yeah, probably could all be done in 21 days. I guess it's just a matter of like giving us time to. Yeah, I guess if we just look at it, depends on what like the end date goal is, because like there's more work on our team to like remediate the bugs and administrate the rewards and whatnot. But for people actually performing it, yeah, they should, like you said, it should take less than an hour. So I guess 3 weeks is a reasonable task to get it done. It's easier for the working group to be maintained for that period of time, then I guess we could probably stick to that, and we'll just maybe give ourselves a little buffer to actually disperse the rewards and do all the necessary queries there to figure out who earned what.
Okay. I guess we probably won't know this for a little bit longer then, but how long after a task is done until they receive the Phonon for completing the task?
I think we'll just do that as one big batch at the end of the testnet, so we can review all of the activity at once. It would be a lot of manual effort to keep that up to date on a continuous basis. So probably just wait until the conclusion of the testnet and then just try to disperse the rewards within the next week or two. Could say a week.
Yeah, and we can, if we're going to disperse directly from the multi-sig, you know how much fun that is coordinating Tuesdays. So I mean, we can, with Utopia, just upload a spreadsheet of all the disbursements and just do it as like one mass approval.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I was going to build a JSON string for it, but if we have a tool, I am totally down for using a tool.
Oh yeah, actually, Dan M is the best person to talk to about that.
Okay.
He's set up, and there is actually like a .csv import option. I mean, obviously, with that kind of dispersal, we're gonna octuple check it, but it should definitely save a lot of time.
Okay.
Is that 1 to 2 weeks after the 21 days
Inclusion.
that Tuesday said, or is that 1 to 2 weeks after the 2 months that you said, Dan?
Yeah, let's stick to the 21 days because it sounds like we've already got the resources for the testnet working group lined up there. We can make that the testnet window, and that'll be then 1 to 2 weeks after that for the disbursement.
Okay.
Okay. Is there a finish date we need to test by in order to receive Phonon? So should we market it as 21 days to do the test?
Yeah, I mean, I think if that's the amount of time we're going to have, support for, then we might as well make that the time limit for the tasks. I guess the only question with that is might not be enough time, depending on when the orders for the testnet cards come in. If we launch it in a tight window, we don't have all the orders out. That would not be ideal.
Yeah, that makes sense. Because that would be 28 days since you can order 7 days prior.
Yeah, especially for international orders, which may take a bit longer to ship. Don't want to put the people participating under a time crunch to get it done.
I mean, we can do 2 months, and like the testnet group probably won't have that much more. Plus, everyone is probably going to be a guru by then, so like everyone will be helping.
Okay.
Good to have a forcing function though, because even with 2 months, you're definitely going to have people on like the last day, and then one guy the day after the deadline, like no one told me anything. So it is good to push. But yeah, international orders, I mean, they could take 10 days in transit, and then depending on the country, sometimes people run into all kinds of weird, funky issues with customs imports. We've seen it more with the lattice because customs in some countries are like, what the hell is this? Can we even clear this? But with the cards and the card readers, it should be hopefully a little more straightforward.
Okay. And then to add on to this, the original structure was almost $500 worth of Phonon to complete the tasks. With current market value, it is $107 as of a minute ago. So I'm not sure if we need to restructure this or how we feel about giving out even more tokens. Yeah.
So we had a FIP and a vote on the actual incentivization amount. I guess it comes down to the language. Did we specify it in phonons or in like equivalent USD value in the initial proposal?
I thought it was equivalent, but yeah.
Do we?
Is there a way?
Or did we just have the bootstrapping group kind of earmark this?
Trying to remember, man.
It's been a couple of months, so
On the website, it's listed as Phonon.
I mean, my impulse is that we should bump it. I mean, that's part of how we're going to incentivize people to get involved, do this expediently.
Yeah.
And it's kind of the charm where we think we're going to sell out with this quickly is like, give us an hour of your time, place an order, and you're going to make that back many times over and get to play around with something very cool and cutting edge.
Is it
That said,
possible-
yeah. Oh, go
Is
ahead.
it possible to put like kind of with the vested Phonon idea, maybe make up the difference in options that you could buy like at a cheaper price,
Yeah.
and that helps us diversify the treasury some too.
I love that.
I mean, you could do maybe not the difference. You could do the payout, but also say that those people have the right to purchase directly at like, I don't know,
Just like
10 or 13% discount from like the weighted Uniswap average.
Exactly, like an ESOP, Justin. You know what I mean?
Yep, exactly. Just gotta think a little bit. I guess we have to think a little bit about the logistics of that, but it shouldn't be too hard to facilitate that. And I think that's a good idea. Honestly, those are people who are going to be excited about it anyways, and they're going to be like, "Oh yeah, shit, this is pretty solid." So,
Justin,
I think that's it.
On the flip side of that, like, do you think if the price of Phonon went up 5x rather than being worth 20%, we'd be having this conversation about decreasing the rewards? Because I don't think we would. So I wouldn't increase, the Phonon being given by 5x to make it equal to like $500 or something, something in between maybe, or an idea for like an option or whatever sounds good. But I don't think us increasing the cost to the DAO by 500% for number of phonons being given out makes a ton of sense.
How about we double it? Would that be good if we doubled it and then maybe you get up to 4x of what you're getting, like the potential to purchase that many options?
Yeah, I like the idea of purchasing options more because then it brings in revenue and, we can diversify the DAO holdings a bit. Yeah.
Maybe it's
At the very least, though, I think it should be greater than upfront cost.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fair.
You got to incentivize people from a marketing standpoint, or they're not going to buy the shit.
I mean, I think we've already got 40 sold, and we said we need 200 people. So realistically, if the 40 up front, and then plus whoever's sitting here waiting for like one, if that gets us halfway there, like.
Yeah, it's not like we need a huge number, right? That's a good point too.
Like, yeah, we have 3 months to kind of like do publicity and talk about this shit and get people to buy in. I guess that kind of limits it to U.S. people because of the shipping issues. So maybe that's not fair. But yeah, realistically, I think maybe it's if you complete the whole thing, you get everybody opens, like it just opens up your key and we'll make a big batch of options that everyone can buy out of. Maybe first come, first serve. I don't know. I guess there's a lot of different ways to go about this, but like it might be easier instead of having like everybody purchase them individually, just make the options, put them in a pool, and put them for sale to people who have been greenlit.
Could we free up more functionality with the DeFi and the Lattice directly? Whether that's like liquidity mining or I don't know. I'm just throwing ideas out there.
There's a lot of avenues to explore that further down the line, but we haven't even, the actual Lattice client is not something that we've even started on with this. It's all we've got to get through this process first.
Okay,
so
I hear you. I'm just excited.
I have to take a phone call real quick. I'll be right back.
Okay. We can explore this further. we don't have to make a call right now, but we should make it soon, especially for calm's sake. So it seems like we can fine tune it, but directionally people are like, at most, double the incentive for completion of the tasks as long as it, covers the upfront cost. Yeah, 5x is a massive token outlay at current spot. Although I guess based on what someone posted the other day, we're actually just about to we're bumping against the bottom of like the huge amount of Uniswap V3 liquidity. So we will actually have book depth if we just slightly uptick. The other thing is, do we want to? What we have to finalize is like, do you want to open up the options to all participants? Should you make it like an incentive with a discount to make it that you have to complete all the tasks before you have the option of doing so? Just as another means of making sure that we get all the data and participation we need out of this.
Yeah, do you do like a graduated reward scale, or you just do an all or none? You got to complete all 10 steps or whatever. Right.
Where you finish it, you get a POAP or whatever, and then if you got that, you're allowed to purchase from the tranche that we'll make available at the end.
The tranche.
Whatever we do,
the way to do it would be to sell different, break up whatever amount we're going to get, whatever amount we're going to option. Basically, sell them each in different specific currencies based on whatever we want our treasury allocation to wind up as, right? So, like,
or you get a part of that 15% discount for that funding round or for a certain time frame. There's a time value to it.
So I like these ideas, but it's just like about executing them. And I think it's not good to not reward people. It's also really not good to disappoint people and not execute well and then screw up. So I'd say whatever we do, I just ask that we keep it really, really simple. If we are going to do like make options available, we might just want to make a big pool of options available for anyone who's been active in the DAO, rather than trying to administer like specific people and making sure they've completed all tasks. You might want to just make a reward. Sorry, was that?
It's easier, I think, to do it via Testnet because we already, like, if you sign up for Testnet, you have an ETH wallet. We have your ETH wallet, it's ready to go, right? Like, instead of having to go through and be like, oh, this person, that person, like, it seems much simpler to do that. And then maybe we sell, I don't know, 100K worth of options in 2 or 3 different currencies that we want to diversify into. And that just gets started on the route.
That would fix our treasury diversification part too. It's kind of a 2 birds, 1 stone.
The only thing on that, though, people just with privacy sensitivities, since they had to physically order the package, may be weird about like having that tied to a whitelisted ETH address,
especially in California.
Why California?
Well, their privacy laws. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I just mean crypto people and in general. They're a little sharper about all, privacy edge cases than your average person.
I mean, and then like sign up with a burner wallet. I mean, at some point, you have to make your face known if you want to test that process. So if we're going to reward the testnet process, I don't know. I guess I don't understand fully the security implications of it. Like,
yeah, no, I just saying in California, I have quite a few clients out there. For you guys that don't know me, I still have a 9 to 5 in the TradFi space and work for a larger firm, but most of my clients are in California, and that's a big deal for them. Like we can't even notate calls or in our CRM system technically for clients in the state of California. So it's like, how the fuck do you even know about them? Anyway, my point was it's very stringent in California. I don't know if that applies to crypto or not. I thought that's what I know about it.
My vote would be to do double your money on the testnet, and then we just say you're eligible for future rewards, and we sort of see what we can do as far as administering this and making sure it's fair and done well down the road. Yeah. Rather than giving us a lot of administrative stuff up front and not really knowing if we can execute on it.
Here's what it's going to actually... We already kind of pre-solved this, and I didn't even realize it. If we do a POAP, it's not just something that, is like a nice-to-have little tchotchke. You can also use that as the gateway for having those additional benefits. Like having a participant POAP, you can cryptographically verify that you participated regardless of wherever that is. That will grant those future rights.
Exactly. That's what CoinGecko does with some of their schools and stuff.
Yeah, so that leaves us open without having to worry about it too much. We can worry about execution of that and like future benefits that way.
It's like a portal.
Yeah, have it even with being able to buy at a discount or something. Like if you have 2 POAPs, that's actually the infrastructure is there, being like, hey, I'm a testnet participant, and I hit some other variable, and I'm eligible for this. So that's something that we retain flexibility with as long as those NFTs are circulating. So,
and then that itself drives marketing efforts and awareness. Once those are starting to circulate, it's like, oh shit, they've got some co-ops too.
Yep. Oh yeah, people go ham for them. I don't even know what it is. Just for even like, where you have even if you just have like a call on Twitter, people like they will freak out to try and get a POAP for it. So,
recognition, they love it.
They love it.
I feel very targeted right now.
That was funny.
Great. Hey, there's one other important thing. I know there's a few lingering things we can talk about before we wrap up, but there is a lurker on this call that I would love to introduce to all of you. A new client implementation team core developer, Douglas Phillips.
Hello there.
Hey,
man.
Welcome.
Yes. I am. I joined on full time for the Phonon core team, so very happy to be able to make contributions.
Congratulations, man.
Awesome and welcome.
Yeah, we're thrilled to have him.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I missed it. What role are you?
I'm a software engineer, so I work on the Phonon protocol.
Okay.
Yep. Douglas is based out of Texas. Dan's been grinding hard looking through so many code tests and resumes, and we're thrilled to have him on board. Douglas, too, also, let's see, he is an Emacs maximalist, much to Nate's chagrin. Well,
truly superior.
Superior editing environment for coders.
Well, that's because of your make files are forcing me to compile over Windows, so I can't use my Nix environment until I tell Emacs to look for Go in a different way than Nix.
Yeah. If you don't understand the editor chat, just realize that this is evidence that we have the right guy here.
No, if you don't understand the editor chat, send me a DM. I'll educate you. Don't worry.
You're in Austin?
No, I'm around Abilene area, so about 3 hours northwest.
All right, yeah, because I'm thinking at some point in the next couple months, I'm gonna host some kind of Phonon gathering in Austin.
Yes.
Maybe hit some water and kind of enjoy a little bit of the community here.
Does it involve
in Austin?
Are you going to call it Phone Austin?
There you
go. If you want, Nate, if that gets you to show up, I'm doing it.
I'll show up and call it Phone Austin.
All right, bet.
Actually, you have to call it the Nate Mail Memorial Phone Austin.
Memorial if you're there.
Doesn't matter.
That's the plot twist. we all say what we like about Nate, and then he just comes out and it's like, surprise, I'm not dead. And I just pushed 5 commits to the GitHub repo.
Exactly.
I love it. All right, and we'll do this maybe semi-annually, and each one will Barry. You will eulogize a new dev. Let you all know, remember the axe can fall.
Yeah, Rooster had a beautiful head of hair, buoyant, curly. That's all I had to say about him. I don't know anything else.
He had a Michael Jackson moment where it kind of fire.
Well, we're all still here. If any of you guys are friends with the multi-sig holders that have not signed, by the way, thank you, Bannon, for getting all those started. I appreciate that greatly. But if you know any of our other multi-sig people and you talk to them, I would greatly appreciate if they sign some transactions.
Yeah. Hey. Now I feel targeted, but yes, let's talk about that. Let's also talk about actually axing some of these people. I think we should get like the least active participants. Like they just create friction at this point with the number of signatures required. But yeah, I will help push that through. Shame people, harass them, and I think it's time to maybe cull a few from the herd if you guys think that's ideal. So happy to push that through. Hit me with a DM after the call. Yeah.
You guys need help in Austin though, for real, for packaging and what we were talking about.
So
Honestly, probably not.
You think you got it covered?
Probably
Okay.
not.
I mean,
Yeah,
we
I think
people local. You know, I was thinking of people I know who are in the project. Like, I
Okay.
think I could get 3. So I think that's more than enough coverage.
I thought we were cooler than that, Rooster. I see what's up. All right.
Yeah.
We're as cool as you want to be. We're going to be doing some kind of party. You could come to that. I mean,
We still got business, player. We still got some business.
And my house is a shithole right now, and we'll hang out.
I just have a lady friend in the area. I was going to come out and just spend some time. So
Yeah, man, if you're going to be here, sure. But
you can use that as an excuse to come down. Yeah, like, yeah, I gotta help out a bunch of shadowy, super secret coders, and
to make sure there's
you know,
no phony business. You know, I'm like an auditor. No,
yeah.
Yeah, all right, bro.
Nobody likes that guy. Nobody likes him.
I feel like if you really want to help out the Phonon effort, you should come to Atlanta and participate in some illegal street racing.
Let's go. My son wants me to buy a Hellcat. He's begging me. He's like, "They're going to be discontinued. You gotta." I'm like, "All right, man. Let me close on this cabin, and you got it, bro. We'll pick something up."
Do we have a Phonon coalition in Atlanta?
I grew up in Marietta, bro.
Of one.
I grew up in Marietta, right north, like suburb outside Atlanta, right there.
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah. I'll be in Roswell in 2 weeks. See you guys there.
Let's go. Let's
All right,
go.
cool. Bring a fast car and a lack of respect for the law.
Okay.
When is this? Next week?
It's an open invite at Nate's house. I'll post the address in general.
Perfect. Thank you.
Nate, I'm gonna drive my Tesla. We're gonna. It's going down. We're gonna race.
I refuse to race electric cars anymore. I'm not gonna admit to doing anything illegal, but last week I was in Mexico, and
stop right there. Just stop.
And there was a Porsche Taycan.
Everything's legal there.
And I saw him accelerating, so I accelerated. And then I saw him really accelerate, so I really accelerated. And then I was flooring it, and then he was just driving away from me.
Yeah, man,
He's gone, huh?
He was gone.
My Tesla had a little fender bender. It's been in the shop over 4 months, bro. They're so backed up in Phoenix. It's like I might get it back next week. That's what they're telling me. Hurts. But once it's ready, you tell me. I'll come out. I'll do the what do they call it? The automated whatever. The self-driving. I'll come out to Atlanta. We'll race. We'll do it right, man. I'll show you my old neighborhood stuff.
I did want to ask Douglas one question. Yeah, what's exciting about Phonon past the app development? Like, where's your head at?
Oh yeah, I actually put together a little roadmap doc I was going to share. We already ran over already, so you know, we can cover this next week too for anybody who can't stick around. But I'll show you, you know, a little bit of it right now if you want.
Yeah, please.
Let's go.
Let me get this up on my window, right? Yeah, so still a work in progress, subject to change. Don't hold me to any of this, but this is what I've got in mind. I think I shared a doc like this a while back. I've updated it for where we're at now. So like on the left here is pretty much stuff we've done in the past that's already in. Current release is all of the stuff we're working on right now, or have mostly, you know, finished up for the testnet. Just polishing up a few final things here. And then I see the next release as like what I'd call the beta release. I may break this up into like smaller milestones, and you know, we'll probably release the client improvements we can in advance, and anything that has to, you know, happen on the card will be one big beta release. But I mean, the main things are like updating the deposit and redeem functionality, updating the transfer functionality. We've got like simple versions of those working right now. The main thing for deposits and redeems is I want to open up the architecture so it's much easier for other teams and developers to add support for different chains and assets to the client. Along with that, just like improve the general open source footing of the project, so it's easier to contribute those things. Transfers v2, like we have simple transfers working between cards, but they're limited in the number of phonons they can send. There may be a security hole in replay attacks that I'm not totally sure about, but we're gonna basically do another revision of how that whole process works and get it working with what's called extended length messages on the card, so you can send much larger packets, which could include much more phonons in a single transfer, to make these a lot, just more performant and easy to use and secure. We still have to implement the on-chain asset validation, so that's going to be in that beta release. So yeah, basically, I won't list every one of these. You guys can read, but the idea is to get the beta to a point where the app is pretty much completely functional and pretty usable and entirely secure, at least as far as we know. And then, just to kind of polish off a few of the not completely finished features like native phonons and getting a peer-to-peer networking stack up. And then it'll be time to start freezing the features and pushing it towards production, getting security audits and making sure that everything is bulletproof so we can go towards a production card release that should be ready to handle real assets. So that's pretty much what I had in mind. You guys got any questions? That makes some sense?
This is great, man. Good job.
Yeah, thanks, man. So yeah, over the next, we're still focusing on polishing everything up for testnet. So after the next week or two, when we've got that all wrapped up, we'll be spending some more time on breaking down this beta stuff into distinct milestones and fleshing that all out.
Question for testnet versus beta. When are we moving the code repo from GridPlus to Phonon?
Yeah, that's a good question. Undecided. Probably around the time of the beta release would seem appropriate to me. Part of that is getting it more accessible to external devs. So, I think the thing that has to happen for that is the product working group within the DAO kind of has to get going so that there's someone to take stewardship of that and work, with our team at GridPlus on owning and improving that code going forwards.
Okay. So at the moment, do you guys control who has access to the code? Who can actually commit changes?
Yeah, we do.
I mean, logistically, would it make sense for, let's say, those specific repos that you already have this stuff on, if we did move it to the DAO's GitHub repository, if we still is it functionally the same if it's you, Nate, and Douglas, who are the only ones who are able to review and merge anyways?
The way I would suggest doing it is the Phonon DAO should just fork the repo and then pull changes from upstream as you wish, and then we can pull changes from downstream to keep them at kind of parity. So then GridPlus doesn't directly influence what's going on in the Phonon DAO repo, and we're free to make changes in our own that you can then pull from.
Okay.
I think there's some questions around the structure that we could work out. I mean, it needs to be decided what the group that manages the code within the DAO is.
Okay.
I mean, it can transition as however you see fit from a project management standpoint, right? So eventually, yes, you have to, just as a matter of course, you have to open it up beyond the GridPlus client implementation team. It should be under the purview of other contributors, and the DAO has the final say on anything in there, obviously. But yeah, I'm going to kind of recuse myself because this all comes down to a project management and versioning issue for devs, and that's not my area of expertise. But I would like to see it sooner rather than later, just in terms of optics and encouraging contribution.
Yeah. So I'm gonna give a rough time frame of in between testnet complete and beta launch. Maybe the code will be moved.
Yeah, I think that'd be fine.
And the only other question that kind of popped up was And I'm sure you probably just looked at this because you probably had that at Douglas, but do we have any people that we need to deactivate any accounts on for the grid, or I guess the Phonon repository right now?
I don't think so. Not at the moment.
Okay. Cool.
We'll take a look. I think other people that have access to repos, and a couple of them might be private, are Mariano and Tim from the original smart contract work and code review. But yeah, we'll have to take a look.
Cool.
All right. Well, this is an awesome meeting. It's very exciting to see all of this finally take shape, and we're down to coordinating the logistics. I think it's going to be really exciting, and I can't wait to get more people starting to play with the Phonon Testnet. It's pretty big.
Yes, sir.
I would say we're since it's the time's pretty close. Please communicate as much as you guys can. If we have to push things back for Mickey and all the comm stuff.
Yep. Yeah, we need to coordinate tightly between comms and all of us on this. So, I don't know. Do you want to just we'll keep it going async in terms of like what you need, Mickey, with your crew, and we'll stay as dialed in as possible via Discord.
Yeah,
I'm gonna.
The email. Sorry, I didn't. But
I mean, I was just gonna say I'm gonna probably spend this afternoon sorting out the flashing process for the cards. So I'll be in touch on on Monday with Mickey and Tuesday to let you guys know how it's gone and certify that I can in fact produce a number of cards definitely.
nice. And Justin, yeah, we do need at least one up and running Phonon.network email, so that when we put press releases, it's legit. We're not just. Guess someone copied the current Phonon website. It's pretty weird.
Molecule.
I saw the Molecule DAO.
Yeah.
Fuckers.
Yeah.
And I think Rooster said they put a roadmap in too.
Yeah, they just put in some bullshit about like a NFT game or something, and yeah.
Oh, what?
It's
Rooster.
Yeah. So yeah, there's like an exact copy of the Phonon site. It even like it mentions the team, it mentions GridPlus, except they called it Molecule DAO, and it just leads you to their scam token. So
it's just lazy writing.
Yeah, not even like high effort scamming. It's pretty low level scamming.
Yeah.
But hey, we've arrived.
Yeah, well, that's one, but two, like the thing that really kind of like vexed me about it is they added a tokenomics section in the roadmap. Like they knew their scam would sell better with that, which I kind of like. I'm looking at that as kind of an indictment of us in a way. No, seriously, like,
no, you're 100% right. Yeah, that's what people expect.
Rooster.
Sorry,
What the fuck?
I want to
I'm
phone
looking at this right now. This is the dumbest shit I ever seen.
One other thing.
Rooster. I want a phone on email so that I can get a business card.
I hate you.
One other thing that we may be another thing we may be getting questions on is where's our white paper? I don't know if we have an update on that, but I could imagine if we send it out to reporters, they're going to say, "Well, do you have a white paper?"
Okay, so I guess I can have the thing I have done. I mean, it's not great, and I know Rake has a lot of things he wants to change about it, but like, I do think that that's at least a bare bones right now, something we can update. Just to have that as a section, it's 95%. I could finish that over the weekend.
Cool. We can go over it on Tuesday and just like check all the boxes of stuff we want to have done. And it's worth it to have like something written up about the token and put thoughts around that, because that's obviously a question that's going to get asked a lot, and we should have at least something cohesive and clear there. So let me put like a little checklist of things we should probably have done before we send out a press release.
Yeah, we need a marketing kit to go with the press release, or at least a link to a marketing kit that would have.
Yeah,
That's a good. Well, yeah, like a press kit. I
Logo,
am asked permission
descriptions.
to use some of the graphics for a press kit. He's going to
What's
ask
that?
the for a press kit. Yeah, I'm putting together a press kit. It's going to have some of the hopefully some of the graphics from Ian's team and that, and also like a little deck. That's going to explain everything. But we probably should have something there about the token. That is important.
I tried to write a simple thing about token on the guidelines doc. It's pretty brief, so feel free to expand on that.
Does it have the stuff with the GridPlus conversion?
Hold on.
On the verbal guidelines, there's like a little section describing the token, like what it's used for, what kind it is. Basic descriptor, I guess. But anyways, yeah, definitely stuff to talk about on Tuesday. Maybe I'll make it this week.
Oh, jazz on my face.
Yeah, I get a drop for something at 1:30. Talk to you guys soon. Awesome stuff. I'm really excited. It feels so cool to see this momentum and it all kind of coming together.
Hell yeah.
Here we go. It's a huge step forward. It's a real milestone for the project. All right, talk to you guys soon.
See you, Justin.
See ya.
All right, yeah. Thanks, guys. I'm gonna head out. I'll drop some pictures of the Phonon cards in the chat pretty soon, though.
Thank you.
Mick, what can we do to support you with the time change, brother?
What's that?
Anything? What can we do to support you with the time change? Anything?
What do you mean time change?
Just the difference, because aren't you in Italy right now?
Oh, yeah, I'm in Italy. It's all good. I mean, whatever.
I could take notes and pass them along, or whatever you need, bro.
Actually, notes would be useful for this because I blanked out and was not taking notes. Pomona, were you taking notes?
No, but I would for you if it would help you.
Oh, that'd be great. I think we have like some.
I normally do, actually, bro. I seriously do.
Some basically we need to there's some shit we need to get clear before we can start blasting a press release out. Like some permissions for graphic stuff, but mostly making sure that August 1st is the date and what the reward number is. So it sounds like we're just doubling. It's like whatever, $200 or whatever it is. The rewards, we're doubling the rewards, and then what will be really helpful is once I get access to the Phonon Network website, there's like hundreds and hundreds of people we're going to send the press kit to. I'm just going to give something you need to paste in. But if we can all just divide and conquer and take like 20, just message 20 people so that not one of us is just sitting there like messaging like 600 people, that would be good. That'd be like an all hands on deck thing, just pushing stuff out. And then we will need like eyes and review on. I've made a deck. I've written a press release that's going to be updated, and I'm putting together a press kit. And I need people to look at it and fix it if it sucks. And then we're kind of good to go. And then then the content calendar is Clamado's side. He's going to have all the shit we're going to put out every single day. I wrote a bunch of shit he can use, but there's more shit he wants to use. And we're going to do like Twitter Spaces every day, and we're going to try to do a lot of collabs. Like, that's another thing. If you, know anyone on Twitter with a big audience, we have some part of the Discord as well, where we can do some like Twitter Spaces together. That would be a great idea. So if you know anybody, let's do it. I mean, we can ask Sassel, but yeah.
Okay, cool.
Cool. I'm looking forward to the Rooster Phonon tattoo, if and when that goes down.
I missed an opportunity to get the tattoo just like in the basic form. We had a tattoo artist in house for a party, and I was thinking about sitting down for it, but I don't know. Have we gotten any real response on that? Like, I haven't asked anybody because I don't particularly like.
No.
I'm just gonna get the tattoo at some point.
Rooster, you need some pictures like Playgirl. You need to do some poses so we can jazz it up.
I'm not sure what I would charge the DAO for that, but I'll think about it.
Phonon.
Yeah, I haven't seen one response for that, so I don't know. I
Yeah.
think we have it set up for the 27th to do it. I would say just cancel that because we got a lot going on anyways, and then push it out to later.
I was hoping you'd go viral.
What's up?
I was hoping you'd go viral.
Yeah.
You,
Well,
you would. You would.
I mean, I think if you want to keep it open, it would be to drop it off in like places where artists are. I don't know like any of those forums or fucking discords or whatever, but it would be drop it off for artists so that they can see it because it's not there's not a ton of crossover in crypto and people who are drawn on skin.
Not yet.
Oh, speaking of which, I am now by my wallet, and I will sign the fucking transaction because I have not signed it.
You guys don't leave yours plugged in all the time?
I went on a little trip and bring it with me. It's so bulky, and I don't have a good way to transport.
Yeah,
I kind of rolled in a hoodie. I don't know if it's another better way.
Yeah, the box it came in is like perfect.
But it's so huge.
Yeah, it is. It's not exactly luggage.
Yeah.
You should have been in the Bronx, mister. It was bananas. Red Sox games are nuts, dude.
Yeah, they go off there.
It was wonderful.
Top notch. Again, I've been to that place a couple times and I miss the energy of the old ballpark was historic and fucking it was a sanctified place for baseball. And I
Yes.
give about baseball, but like you slapped a field in the middle of a food court. Like great job, New York.
It is fun though.
You gotta go to the Garden,
The Garden.
Madison Square Garden.
I'll see you guys later.
Yeah,
See you guys.
I got to drop as well.
Okay, man.
Yeah.
Later, Clint.